Hello again. Welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor. This is the second video that I want to introduce to you all the supplies that will get you started with a successful journey into watercolor painting. If you've dabbled in paints of any kind or of other mediums such as drawing pencils, colored pencils, this may be of interest to you, and if you've always been a little afraid of watercolor, and a lot of us have been, some people are very daunted by this medium because it's very challenging in some ways. But in my videos, it is my hope to allow you to understand watercolor better and to use proper techniques and tips and tricks to become more successful and find out what is so wonderful and beautiful and creative about watercolors. We'll talk about all the different things you need, and I'm going to give you a good start to that right now. Okay, so first of all, you're going to need good paint brushes, and that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the best brushes on the planet, but some good student grade brushes would be fine. Eventually I worked my way into Kolinsky Sable, but that took me some years to get to the place where I felt like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get that. So you can get good, Winsor Newton is the professional paint that everybody knows about. There's other good ones too, but they make everything. They make the brushes, you know, these are like these watercolor brushes by Winsor Newton, but they also make a student grade brush, okay, and this is called cotton. So you can buy these, and what I recommend in brushes is to buy maybe a large and maybe a medium brush. So these big brushes are like 1 to 1.5 inches, and this is a flat brush, okay? My Sable one is a little more squared off, and these are for doing washes of color, and we'll talk about how to create fluid flowing, clean, even flat washes in a technique video. Okay, and then you may want a few smaller brushes. So, you know, you can get some, those are the flats, then you can get some of the round brushes, okay? And you can get different sizes, like 6, 8, 10, 12 are the sizes, and usually these have a shorter handle. They're not the long handles, which tend to be the oil painters brushes. They'll be specified when you go to the store to pick up a few brushes, okay? So I would recommend firstly a large flat and a couple rounds, okay? My instructor had us buy a big 1-inch round as well. I don't know how many people would like that, but it is fabulous. I mean, you can just in one dab do a leaf, okay? I mean, it's just, that's how watercolor is. My hope is to get it so that you understand that you don't need to stroke and stroke and stroke and lose the fresh and vibrant colors. Now the next thing you're going to need is some paper, okay? Watercolor paper, you're going to buy, you can buy in the pads. A lot of people start with Strathmore paper, and that you can buy just about anywhere. And these are, they come in different numbers, 300, 400, I think 1 and 200 if you really are in a really good art store. And the thing about this paper, it comes in a spiral pad, so you can paint right in the pad. And it's pretty good quality paint, okay? Or you can buy the kind of pads where you rip out the paper. You can just tear out the sheets. I guess the sheets would look like basically like that, okay? And then we'll talk about how to tape these down and paint on them, but just buying some decent, good watercolor paper is really important, because you don't want to buy the cheapest paper and then you will just find the paper buckles and is flimsy and doesn't hold the paint well. If you look at this, you can see how on a thicker paper the water soaks in and it does just what you want it to do in just a few strokes. Again, those leaf strokes, right? Okay. All right, and then, okay, that's paper. Now we need to talk about paint. Tubes of paint. You can buy that Winsor Newton, which is the professional, or you can go to their Cotman and buy a whole pack of Cotman watercolors. They're not as concentrated or beautiful, if it were I and I really was interested in watercolor and I played it a little bit already, I would suggest that you give it a try and buy some small tubes. Let's see if I can find a small tube. I don't know. Let's see. A smaller tubes of watercolor. I don't know, they're all big now. 5 milliliter tubes. I think I found it. Yeah. Small. This is a small Winsor Newton tube. Or no, that's a Holbein. That's even smaller than a Winsor Newton tube. But they're very concentrated, beautiful paints, and you will get a lot more success out of the tubes of paint than the pans. It's hard to draw your paint out of the pans unless they're a nice large size. Okay. The other thing is that this way, when you use a tube, now these are the 15 milliliter, and you use a big tubes of paint, you can put a lot on your palette, and that's what I'm going to show you real quick right now. This is my John Pike palette. It closes, which I like because it kind of keeps the paint fresher and cleaner and so forth. I don't know if I think they still dry out in here, but I think it still preserves the quality of the paint. You open this up, and on this side is a big palette for you right there, where you can spread your paint out, and this is wonderful. The John Pike palette has these huge pockets you can load with paint, and then you can put and mix your paints on this palette here. So you basically have huge pockets for paint, and you have 2 large palettes. I hope you can see all that. Right. Okay, so that's mainly what we need to start with. Let's see, is there anything else we need? Paper, paint, palette, water. How about some big tubs of water? These are my husband's cottage cheese tubs, which I joke about all the time. He eats a lot of cottage cheese, I guess, for a snack or whatever. You might also want a ruler. You'll want some, oh, I know what else you'll need. Some 3B and 4B pencil. You know how the regular pencils are 2B? You can buy at an art supply store like Michael's or whatnot, a craft store, Michael's craft store. You can just buy some pencils, okay? But 3B and 4B work the best, and then you can do some light drawing in just to draw the basic shapes of a paint of the. So here's some flowers, and I just drew the shapes of the flowers and a little bit of the leaves. Then I'm going to leave the rest to my imagination, which we can talk about later. But then you will want some good erasers, and I believe this is my favorite eraser right there. Yep, Magic Rub. My instructor advised these, and they're inexpensive. You can buy 1 or 2, or you can buy a 6-pack, Amazon, whatever. In fact, you can do all of this on Amazon or any of the art supply stores, or you can find a lot of these at your craft stores nearby. Joanne Fabrics over here has quite a bit of art supplies also. So look around. It's fun to shop and buy some things, but if you just order from one of these art supply stores like Blick's Art Studios, Art Supplies, Blick's Art Supplies, or Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. There's some other ones I hear online from other artists on YouTube. But just find some and look for good prices. You can, cut that shipping cost right out, and then you can buy your supplies, okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to share today. My videos need to be updated, and I want to keep people inspired, and I may have picked up a few more things here and talked about them that and later we can add other supplies into our repertoire. But mainly to start with, you need the basics, and I don't want to overwhelm anybody, so that's why I've just basically given you the basic things right here. And we're going to move on from here to some of our playing around with the paint next, and to try the flat washes and the graduated washes, which is what I always start with people. But we also do some fun things with dab and drag, which is exactly what it says. So stay tuned and join me in the next video, where we're going to get in there and pull some of these paints onto your palette and have a good time and start getting those paints out and play and see that it's just the process is fun, and it's a very spiritual one. It's very relaxing, meditative, and just a lovely thing to add into our lives. So I hope you will join me, and we'll will see you real soon. If you like this video, please click on the like and subscribe, and then we can continue this journey, hopefully throughout our lives, and make them better and richer. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you again, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.